My name is Vesta. It was my dream to serve the great hero King Gazelle, to do research that would benefit the people. Although my dream was broken, but I followed in my father's footsteps and became minister of the armed nation of Dworgen. Well, is more accurate. I lost that position due to my own stupid jealousy. At that time, in my own engineering unit, there was a development of a new weapon in collaboration with the Elven technicians. This top-secret project was called the Armored Soldier Project, and a man named Cajun was chosen to lead its development. He came from a commoner's family of blacksmiths, but his knowledge was extensive. He was a hard worker and trusted by his subordinates. He was a bit too hot-headed, but there was no doubt he was an excellent boss. But I didn't like Cajun for the life of me. It wasn't because he was a commoner. Cajun's skills were already worthy of being called a master craftsman. That's why I was so jealous of him. Cajun had made a name for himself in his family's business and was successful in his research. I, on the other hand, was a man whose only vocation was research. My family came from the Marquis family, and I was destined to become a minister. I could have served in the military and studied while my father was alive, but that was only allowed to be my hobby. I resented that. I had no political talent. I didn't have the coldness of my father or the charisma of King Gazelle. But the servants of the Marquis family are still very good and were ready for the world of politics, without me having to do anything. Besides, there were multiple ministerial positions. King Gazelle and his elders set the tone for the state, so it didn't matter if I was there or not. I'll never be able to help King Gazelle no matter how hard I try. I was convinced at the time that I would never be recognized. That's why I rebelled against Cajun. Then I could serve the king as a blacksmith. I have only research, but it was unfair. Besides, I didn't have time to do my research leisurely. My father fell ill. He was getting worse, and the day was fast approaching when I would become master of the Marquis house. If I didn't produce results soon, I would go unnoticed by King Gazelle for the rest of my life. That was the one thing I couldn't stand. So I ignored Cajun's insistence that I should proceed steadily with my research and push the experiment forward. As a result, the keystone of the project, the spirit demon nucleus, went haywire, and the experiment ended in failure. And the project itself was also thrown out of existence. I was stunned, but my family worked behind the scenes to make things happen. Before I knew it, Cajun took the blame for everything and left the army. And next thing I knew, I was working as a minister. There was no way to apologize. I had led a life of boredom, living only to harass Cajun. I'm sorry about that time. Suddenly, I remembered and apologized to Cajun. Then Cajun looked at me with a puzzled expression on his face, wondering what I was talking about. What are you talking about? Didn't Rimuru give you a budget for increased model production? No, the matter has already been approved. His Majesty managed to coerce Miles Dono into giving him plenty of money for the project. Then, what's your apology for? Oh, it's for a long time ago. Kicking you out of the troops and harassing you. Half the time it wasn't just me, but my subordinates who did my bidding. After all this time, I just remembered that I hadn't apologized yet. It's really too late now. I mean, that's like, you already apologized to me. Cajun smiles at that. Certainly, I said I was sorry when I came to this country. That was undoubtedly my intention, but I still wanted to make another formal apology. Every day in this country was a series of amazing things. I know it's just an excuse, but I'm going to say it. I dare say we were too busy to do anything about it. King Gazelle is no different, but Rimuru's freewheeling behavior is even more so. He relies on someone like me for important tasks. The first challenge was to educate the monsters. When he asked me to teach them to read and write and use the abacus, I wondered with disrespect if this guy was serious. By the way, the abacus is a very useful calculator that was also used by Dworgen. His Majesty, Rimuru made a prototype, and it was adopted without any problem, because the usage was almost the same. It's not just the basics that I teach. As a practical matter, I have also been entrusted with etiquette training for the monsters. Manners for monsters. What is this guy talking about? It's no wonder I thought that, right? I asked His Majesty Rimuru what his purpose was, to which he replied with a smile. Well, I want to interact with humans in the future. I thought it sounded crazy, but I didn't have the right to refuse. So I nodded right then and there to say yes. But the job turned out to be more interesting than I thought. The goblins, led by Shinosama, were eager to learn the etiquette. The men were also not to be outdone, and were learning to be polite and courteous, in order to lessen their vicious appearances. The monsters were more inquisitive and motivated than expected, and I enjoyed teaching them. I enjoyed teaching them even now, but we had agreed to continue until the research facility was set up. I still hold regular seminars. In the meantime, a research facility was built in the place called the Sealed Cave. I had only the bare minimum of equipment, but I was still excited to know that I could work on my research again. It was there that I met Gabaldon the Dragonite and became a good friend of like-minded people. His unconventional ideas were a great stimulus to my forgotten spirit of inquiry. I was not sure what to expect when I was brought here, but now I have nothing but gratitude for King Gazel. I can now say that I am happy. However, that doesn't mean there are no problems. I came to Cajun today to talk about it. Now that I've conveyed my apology I had been thinking about, I could get down to business. Well, thank you for saying that. That's good. Now I think it's more important to get to the main point, don't you? Oh, was I that obvious to you? Attaboy. You've always had a tendency to put off the awkward stuff and start talking about the most random of topics. Come to think of it, that's true. When I think about it, I've known Cajun for a long time now and we know each other well. I don't think there's any reason to be shy about anything now, so I decided to get to the point. To tell you the truth, I had some business to discuss with you. A consultation. If the budget passed, isn't it an important case? The budget is certainly important, but that's not this case. This is important. Much more important than the budget. Huh. I never thought I'd have to worry about something more important than the budget, but okay. I'm sure Cajun will have an answer for this challenge. To tell you the truth, I was in His Majesty Rimuru's lab. Wait a minute. That's the stuff the boss was working on in his secret labs, isn't it? Isn't that something you shouldn't talk about lightly? It's not good. I fully understand that without being told. But I can't just keep my mouth shut. After all, hundreds of demons have been incarnated there. Some of them were archdemons. They were the ruling class. Such a fearsome existence was incarnating right before my eyes. And I hope you can imagine how I felt when I saw that they had been given names. I understand that there is a duty of confidentiality, but I think that this has to be communicated to King Gazel as well. To tell the truth, it's not like I'm being kept silent by His Majesty Rimuru. As long as we have a technical agreement, I have no problem sharing my work with Dworgen. But what? Then I'll ask you abstractly, sparing specific statements. Do you think we should tell King Gazel that we have created a force capable of take the world? Cajun had a good point, so I wrapped my question in an oath. But Cajun's response was even more intense than I had expected. Wait. Vesta, what are you talking about all of a sudden? Was it hard to understand? Was it too wrapped up in an affectionate manner? It's not. Besides, you didn't wrap up any of your remarks. That's impossible. I was still hiding important details. Hahaha. That's okay, if you ask for specifics, even Cajun donos will get a headache. So, please, just tell me your honest opinion. That's okay, right? Cajun has been rude, saying that I have a habit of escaping reality when I have a problem. But I've got bigger things to worry about now, so I can't listen to such complaints. So, what do you think I should do? Should I keep it to myself or should I tell King Gazel as well? Meeting my question squarely, Cajun scratches his head and gives his answer. Vesta, you're tired. Why don't you go home and have a drink and relax? Cajun said and smiled. Oh, this guy. He ran away. That's not an answer to my question. You idiot. Don't involve me in such a serious matter. That's a fair point, but I can't just retreat here. Don't say that, I thought you'd help me. No, I'm out of the country, you know. I'm not in a position of responsibility like Vesta, San, the Marquis of Dworgen. What rubbish. To me, Cajun Dono is still a respected boss. More than a title, a position. I've been saying that for a long time and obeyed your subordinates. Ah, you bastard. Is that why you apologized just now? You've got a lot of nerve. This is how the battle between Cajun and I continued for a while. I want to get involved and Cajun wants to get away. However, the victory or defeat is already visible. Cajun has a strong sense of responsibility. He would never run away irresponsibly after hearing all this. Okay. Tell me the details. I was hoping you'd say that. Just as I had expected, Cajun finally agreed to consult with me. I was satisfied with that and smiled.